Hello everyone. So my name is Uma Maheshwari. I work here at Syncfusion as one of the product managers, handling few of the web components like scheduler and a few navigation components. So today in this webinar, we are going to see what are the new updates uh, we have made for the Blazor and web components in this Volume 3 2022 release, and we'll see how to integrate the Angular project into React, and also we'll see how to pass data between them at last. So let's dive into the topics now. So what's new in Blazor and Web for this Volume 3 2022 release? So in Blazor platform, Blazor, we have introduced five new controls: floating action button, speed dial, skeleton, app bar, and message component. So these are the five components that are newly introduced in Blazor. We have also introduced these components in other Essential JS2 platforms as well. But in addition to these five, there are two more components that adds up to the web platforms, which is image editor and mention component. So let's have a look at the demos for these new components from our demo page. Okay, so first I'll show you the essential JS2 components. So image editor. So using this component, you can easily edit the images. Um, there are functionalities like you can make use of it to crop the image like this, and you can even rotate it, flip it, or insert shapes. So I'm just cropping it, and you can rotate it, flip either horizontally or vertically, and you can also insert text. So there are other features available which you can have a look at from our documentation and demo page. Now next we'll look on to the floating action button component. Okay, so what is this floating action button? Is nothing but a kind of button that appears in front of all other content in a page. So say for example, here you can see the grid component, and at the top of it you can see this floating action button. It denotes the primary action to be performed on the target. So if I click this plus icon, I can add new record to the grid component. So there are other features available with this component, like you can place them at any of the positions like top left or bottom right. Any of these are supported positions, and you can even customize them to change its appearance. So these are some of the features added to the floating action button. And then we have the speed dial component. So it's just an extension of floating action button. When you click this, you will see a list of some action items that pops up while clicking on it. So you can either display them in the linear direction like this, or if you want to show them in the circular way, you can also display in that particular way, and you can also customize them. It has some predefined styles to show icons and text, or simply the text like that, and you can also completely customize its content. The list items content can be customized with the template option, and you can also display it in a model way like this. And the next new component is mention component. So you might have seen this with your Outlook or any of the editable elements. Whenever you type at character, you will get a list of pop-up with a suggestion list. So this is all about the mention component will help you to achieve. So whenever you type at character in any of the editable elements, like it can be a text box or RTE or anything that are editable, you can uh, you can get a list of suggestion pop up like this, and you can also even add multiple suggestion lists to the same editable element like this with different characters. Say, for example, if I type at symbol, I'll be able to get the names. And for hash symbol, I'll be able to get some project names. And with dollar symbol, I'm getting some other list with that says the cost. I mean that indicates the cost values. And with percentage, it shows up another list. Like this, you can add multiple list to the editable elements, and you can even customize them with the template support. So you can see the items that are customized with the help of template. So this is all about mention component. And next we have the app bar component. So you can see here, it's nothing but if you design any of the application, the top layer, the topmost container, you can say it as the app bar that usually has the links to navigate between the pages, or you can display the menu items or the application name, anything. So you want to show some information about the application to the users, you'll be using this component, and you can either show the simple app bar, or you can show it in a prominent way like this. And you can even customize the color of this app bar, either in a light or darker shades like this. And next we have the message component. So it's nothing but to show some information to the users, showing some severity levels. So you can see the colors and icons that shows up in the messages to denote the to denote the importance of the content. You can also show them in various colors, like filled with dark colors or some lighter shades like this. And you can also show and hide the icons inside this message component. And you can also customize them completely with whatever content you want. So here you can see the button component is added into the message component along with the customized HTML elements. So next, moving on to the skeleton component. So this component is nothing but a kind of animating placeholders. So whenever you want to load some content into your page or your into your component, so using this, you can just display the expected layout before the data is actually loaded into that particular space. So this is a kind of loading indicator, but it displays the expected layout either in a circular way or square text or rectangular. And you can also show the animation effects at the time of loading. So either you want to show load in the fade effect or pulse effect. So you can see the difference here. This is fade and pulse. All right. So I hope we have seen about all the new components. All right. So these are the new components that are newly added in Blazor and Essential JS2 for this Volume 3 2022 release. So for web platform, not only this image editor and mention component, but all these five Blazor, the one that are included for Blazor is applicable for Essential JS2 as well. But for now, in this release, image editor and mention component is not available for Blazor. All right. So I hope it is clear. Let's move on to the next topic. .NET 7 compatible. Yes, from this release onwards, all our Blazor components as well as ASP.NET Core components are made compatible to work with .NET 7 version. Um, and then we have moved our pager component from the preview state to production ready. So you can start to use it in your production environment. The next update is for the chart control in Blazor. So now we are talking about the Blazor updates. So to the chart component, data label wrap support has been added. So you can see the accumulation chart here. Whenever the label length exceeds the chart container, space, then you can wrap it down to the next line like this. And also a support has been added to print multiple charts whenever you have multiple charts on the same page. Now you can print them all at the same time. So this support has been added now. And to the stock chart component, legend support has been added. Let me show you. So you can see the legend displaying the series information, and you can also control the visibility of the series just by clicking on the legends. Right. So moving on to the next component, diagram. To the diagram component, flip support has been added for nodes. So you can see the right side GIF image. The flip support has been demonstrated there just by right clicking the node, and if you choose to flip either horizontally or vertically, you can see the difference over there how it actually works. And another support has been added to show or hide the user handles. So when you select the node, you can see the user handles. Now you can either show or hide them on these nodes and connectors as well. And next to the date picker component, we have made this, we have given a full screen calendar support to display the calendar to occupy the entire space on mobile devices. So you can see the landscape and portrait mode here. Now you can use the calendar in this particular mode in your mobile devices. And next to the Gantt chart component inline editing support has been added. So when inline editing support is already there, but what I meant to say is when you enable visual scrolling in the Gantt chart component, at that particular time, now you can make use of this inline editing. So you can scroll down to n number of you can scroll down n number of rows, and then you can start to edit the data inline, as well as you can also perform any of the CRUD operations as well. And next, timeline visualization support. So support has been added to virtually load the tasks with longer timelines on demand. So this support has been newly added, um, so that you can dynamically load the tasks with a longer timeline as per the request. And alphanumeric support for task ID field has been added to the Gantt chart component. So it's nothing but whenever you might be binding the tasks to view on the Gantt chart component. So each task may have the unique IDs. So previously the ID field will accept just either a number value or string value, but now you can provide alphanumeric values as well to the task ID field. So that's all for the Gantt chart component. And to the pivot table component, notifications for UI actions. So this feature is about whenever you perform some UI actions, like either you perform drill down option, or you perform sorting, filtering, or any actions that you perform on the pivot table. Now it is exposed inside the events that we provide. So you might have seen the events like action begin or action end, like that. So inside that particular event, now it is possible to identify which UI action is currently performed by the which action is actually getting performed in the pivot table component. And to the tree grid component, now you can drag the frozen line, and you can choose to include or exclude the columns to be frozen. So you can see here the task name column is dynamically frozen just by dragging that frozen line to the right side like this. So this is one such feature added to the tree grid component in Blazor. And let's move on to the new updates for essential JS2 components. So this is for the Vue community. So now all our Vue components are made to work compatible with the latest Vue version 2.7. So this is an update for Vue framework. And to the chart component, border support has been added for the area chart types. So there are other area chart types like spline area, stacked area, like that. So for all the area chart types, now the border support has been added. So you can see the thick line that acts as a border for the area chart. And now you can render the bubble and scatter charts in canvas mode. And then we have the zooming and panning toolbar to render at the initial load of the chart component. So previously we have the support to show up only when we enable that particular API inside the chart component, but now we have made it to display at the initial rendering. And now you can also format the data labels in any of the globalized format according to the according to the global formats. You can display the data labels based on that. And to the diagram component, freehand drawing support has been added. So now you can draw some freeform curves like this. So, and you can adjust them to um, correct it. So you can draw some freeform curves, and then additional auto scroll support is added. So using this support, you can see here when you resize the node or connector, and if it goes beyond the diagram space, the the scrolling action happens automatically. So this is one such improvement added to the diagram component. And next to the data grid component, as we already saw, the skeleton control component has been newly added. So we have incorporated it into the essential JS2 data grid component. So we have added the shimmer loading placeholder inside the data grid. So at the time of initial data load, and also if you perform any other CRUD action, or if you perform any data operations, at that time this loading placeholder will be shown. This loading placeholder will be shown on the data grid now. And also infinite scrolling with lazy load grouping has been added. So here you can see the records that are grouped with n levels of child, um, with infinite scrolling enabled. So there are chances that the inner level child can be of any length. I mean, any there can be n number of levels. So what is the main idea here is the records will be loaded in the collapsed mode when infinite scrolling is enabled, and only if I expand any of the specific row, at that time the child levels will get loaded dynamically, so as to improve the performance of the initial rendering, as well as other performance kind of issues can be resolved. And next to the Gantt chart component, parent predecessor support has been added. So with this support, now you can map the dependencies between either to parent relationship or to the parent to child relationship. So let me show an example for this. So I'm just mapping this parent to parent like that. And row drag and drop support has been added with virtual scrolling being enabled, with virtualization enabled. So here you can see you can drag and drop the rows to any of the desired location that you want, and Excel like filtering has been enabled. So here you can see the Excel like filtering with checkboxes, and also there are some advanced filtering options with options to sort, clear the filter, and there are the exact same options that are available in Excel. The same feel, look and feel, the kind of filtering is added to the Gantt chart as well now. And alphanumeric support for task ID field, so which we have seen for the Blazor update. So the same support is also added in Essential JS2 platforms as well. Next to the tree grid component, this component is also now provided with the inline editing support with virtualization enabled. So you can see the virtualization, I mean the virtual scrolling has happened, and now you can edit the data inline. And also frozen columns with virtualization is also possible now. With virtualization being enabled, now you can freeze the specific columns as you want. And to the pivot table component, we have added the paging support. So let me show you that in the example. So here you can see the paging support has been added. So you can move on to the next page. You can show the limited rows at the initial load and move to the specific page as you want. And you can also customize the paging as however you want. Like you can set the pager position at the top or bottom, or you can show the page size as however you want. Okay, so now we'll see what are the updates that are common for both Blazor and the essential JS2 components. So to the scheduler component, we have added the virtual scrolling support in vertical views. Previously, the virtual scrolling support has been added only for the timeline views, but now the support has been added for the vertical views as well. And the template support has been added to the year view. You can see the header bar, I mean month header as well as week header is customized with different colors. So you can customize any of the elements in year view now. And next to the RT component, now you can insert media files into the RT component. Either it can be a audio file or video file. And you can also integrate mention inside it. It is applicable only for web platforms now. I mean, essential JS2 platforms now. Let me show you the example now for RTE. So here you can see the video file is inserted as well as the audio is also inserted into the RTE component, and the mention integration is also included into our RTE component. So if I type at character, you can select and tag that particular person. In next to the word processor component, now you can show the paragraph and hidden marks. I mean, this support is all about you can identify the start and end of the paragraph, or even some hidden symbols present in the document can be Either you can show them or hide them from the document. So this support show paragraphs and hidden marks is all about that particular indication. And to the carousel component, partial view support has been added. So here you can see the partial view of the adjacent slides to the left and right. And the main slide is actually displaying at the center, and the left side and the right side slides are displayed in the partial view. Okay, so that's all about the new updates for Blazor and Essential JS2 platforms. Now we'll move on to the topic how to integrate Angular app into a React application, and then we'll see how to pass data between them. So the basic idea is we are going to share data between these two applications. Both React will also pass data to Angular, and Angular will also is going to pass data to the React application. I'm going to um, render this Angular application. I mean, I'm going to load this Angular application dynamically into the React application. Say for example, if I'm just updating the Angular code, if I'm going to add some new content into the Angular, then my React app shouldn't be completely restart. Only the updated thing alone will needs to be re-rendered. So ideally, the two apps will run independently on two different URLs, and I'm going to integrate that Angular app into React by making use of web components. So web component, that is Angular custom elements, I'm going to make use of it um, to pass the I mean to pass that particular custom element into the React application. So the same concept, that is, if you want to integrate any of the application, I mean, if you want to integrate the Angular into React, or some view into React, this particular scenario is possible with another solution, that is Webpack 5's module federation. That is one another solution, but now we are not going to make use of that, but we'll just create this Angular web component and dynamically load them into any of the JS application, and here it is the React application. So before moving on to the application creation process, we'll see what are the packages we are going to use in React. I'm going to create two projects, React and Angular. In React project, I'll make use of web component load to load the Angular project dynamically. And in the Angular project, I'm going to um, make use of Angular elements package to create the custom elements, and make sure you have Angular version 6 or later to work with that. All right. So okay, so let me explain you what we are going to create. Say for example, in a single page, I'm going to partition that page into two halves. In the first box, I'm going to display the React content, and in the second box, I'm going to display the Angular content. And in the first, I'll be telling you how to load the Angular project into React, and then we'll pass data between them. Okay, let me open the Visual Studio Code. I have created the workspace already here. So I'll open the terminal. I'll open two terminals. As I said, I need to create two projects. So first I'll create a React project using the command npx create React app, and I provide my application name as React app. In the meantime, I open another terminal, and here I'll create the Angular project. So ng new Angular app. So I'm not going to use routing now. Let me go with the CSS. Okay, let the packages get installed for both of these projects. So we'll go through the step by step things that are to be followed. Okay, so now let me change the directory. React app, Angular app. Okay. Let's just check the initial output, npm start, and I'll run my Angular app with ng serve. Okay, React app. Angular application runs at the port 4200. So let's check that too. All right, so just running good. Now the first step, let's start creating the custom elements into the Angular application. So I'll move on to the src app component HTML, and I'm just going to remove the existing content. I'll just add the content hello from Angular. Okay, so I'll be passing this static content first from the Angular project. Let's see, the Angular project is displaying hello from Angular. Now, this is not the case. I need to create the custom element. So let me move on to the app.module.ts. Okay, before that, I need to install the package Angular elements. So in the Angular application, ng add at Angular/elements. Proceed it with yes. Okay, so the package that you're trying to add does not schematics. You can try using a different package. Okay, I don't need that particular thing now. So the package is added. Now in the app module.ts file, what I'm going to do is I need to import the injector interface and do bootstrap as well. And next step is I need to import create custom element. So this using this method from the Angular elements package, I'm going to create the custom element. And here I'm going to remove this bootstrap array. And instead of that, I'm going to add entry components. And inside this entry components, I'll add app component. So this is to inform the Angular that it needs to load the app component as the initial one. So because we are going to create the, I mean, basically the Angular, what it will do is it will automatically bootstraps the component, but now we are going to manually bootstrap the app component. I mean, as we are going to proceed with custom element creation, we need to manually bootstrap it. And the entry components array is for letting know the Angular that it needs to load the app component first. So the next step is I'm going to implement to bootstrap, and here let me add the constructor with injector. So inside this constructor, I'm going to create um, the custom element. So let me create a constant variable web component web comp equal to. Now I'll make use of that create custom element method, and this method takes two parameters. So the first parameter is the component which needs to be uh, where the I need to specify the component name. Here it is app component, which will act as the custom element. I mean, I'm going to place the content inside this app component. And the second parameter is nothing but the configuration object. So I'll pass the injector, current injector instance. And next I'll use the custom elements. So this is not about Angular, but it belongs to the Windows interface. Custom elements dot define. So this is nothing but it helps to register this custom element in the browser. So that is what we are using this define method from custom elements. So it will take two parameters. The first parameter is the name of the element. So if I pass custom app over here, then I can make use of it as a HTML tag in any of the application I want. So this is the actual custom element I'm creating, which is going to get registered in the browser as well. And the next parameter is nothing but the web component that I created in the previous step, web comp, and that's it. And in the next step, I'm just bootstrapping bootstrap. So that's all. So now we have created this custom element by giving it a name custom app, and I can access this inside any of the applications. So let me show you with Angular application itself first. So to try it out inside the index.html, I'll just add this. Okay, let me show you first. Actually, it won't show up anything now. Now run it ng sir, because the app component, the custom elements can't be directly showed up on the page now. So you can't see anything now. Now in the index page, let me add it custom app. So you can see the I have used this custom app tag, and the content app component content is actually getting displayed. So now I'm going to make use of this particular custom app inside the React project. So how can I access this? So let me remove this from here. let the Angular application run at the behind, and now move on to the React app. And inside the app.js, now let me remove some of the default imports and the UI part. So first I'll import React from React. And then I said that we need web component load to dynamically integrate the Angular application into React application. So let's move on to the React terminal. Here I need to install web component load package now. So I install npm I web component web hyphen component hyphen load in the React project. Okay, so once it is installed, now I need to import the load method from web component load package. Okay, so inside this return app function, I'm going to use that custom app tag. Okay, so in order to use this tag here, I need to load that Angular application into this React one application. So inside this app function, what I'm going to do is I'll make use of React.useEffect, and inside this use effect, I'll make a call to the load method, and I'll simply pass the localhost 4200 where the Angular project is currently running. And here I'll pass empty brackets as I just want this to run at the initial load and don't want to repeat it. Okay, now let me save the changes and try running this React application. Now I want this hello from Angular inside the React application. Okay, so here you can see inside this React application, you are now seeing the content from Angular, static content. That was the Angular part. That won't show up any content now. And in the React application, the Angular content is being displayed now. Now we'll see how to pass some dynamic data into it from the React project. So here in the React project, we have added this custom app uh, tag. So I will add some custom attribute to this. Say I'll pass the um, I'll give the name as slider value, and I want to pass some value into it. So let me add the state variable here. Set val. So I'm just passing some default value. So now the default value of this val variable, state variable is 70. So I'll pass this val here. Okay. Now, how can I access this value inside the Angular application? So now what I'm going to do is just notice the name over here, slider hyphen value. It is a combination of two words. So now go back to the Angular project inside the src folder, app component HTML, sorry, app component TS file. And here I'm going to define the input properties. So let me import input interface from the Angular core and at input. And here, how I'm going to pass the value is I'm just going to change the first character of the second word into caps. So in the camel case, and I'll just assign no value over here. Okay. Now I'll copy this slider value, and inside this app component HTML file, let me add a div element and here I'll just mention as React slider value and I'll pass that slider value here. So let me tell you what I have done with the React and Angular project. Inside the React project, I have just created a new attribute slider value and passed this value, default value 70 to that attribute. And inside the Angular project, in app component TS, I have created the property with the same name, but I have used it in the camel case, and in the same way in app component HTML, I'm just accessing that value over here. So let's see. Now I need to get this content as well inside the React project. Let me refresh it. Okay, so here you are able to see the value that is passed from the React project, but the actual thing is the Angular content is getting displayed into the React project. Okay, so to differentiate this, let me first um, create two partitions in this React project. So let me open the React project app.js, and inside this return statement, I will simply add the div elements. I will add two divs, and add the class names as container left box, and to the second div class name container right box, and inside the container right box I will add that existing custom app tag inside the first div, which is going to act as the React content. So here let me say hello from React. All right, so let me add the CSS for this container left box and container right box. So I remove this existing content from app CSS, and I have the CSS to copy from here. All right. I'm just adding the height margin padding like that, some basic things alone. So let's see. We're not going to focus much on the CSS part. So it's That's fine for now. So this is the React partition and this is the Angular partition. Angular project is loaded into this right box, and the left box is all about React. So now what I will do is we have passed the static value into Angular. Now I'll add the slider component into this React box, and when I change the value in slider, I want that value to change dynamically. So in the React project, let me add the React inputs package. Sorry, this is Angular. So in the React app terminal, I'm adding npm install at syncfusion slash ej2 hyphen react inputs. So the slider component is available inside this ej2 react inputs package. So that's the reason I'm importing this particular package. So it's very simple to use this. Inside the app.js component, I simply need to import slider component from Syncfusion EJ2 React inputs, and then inside this left box, I'm adding the slider component content. So let me copy paste the slider code here. Uh, so it's so simple to add the slider component. You can refer the documentation as well. So I am just adding the minimal properties to the value property. I'm just passing this same state variable val, and there are some. I just want to show the ticks inside the slider, so that's why I'm just configuring some ticks into it. So these are some built-in properties that are available. So say for now, I'm just not passing this change event. So first let's see whether the slider component is displaying on the UI. In the app.css, I need to refer the CSS for the slider component. So I'm just importing it from the node modules. All right, now let's run this React application. So now we should see the slider component at the left side. We have not added the change event now. Okay, so you can ignore this warning message because I have not included the license key now. Just for the, I'm using the trial thing. So yes, we got the slider component. Okay, I think I have not, the Angular application is not running. I'm just adding that ng serve as well. Okay, so now when I change the value in slider, it will not reflect. So to reflect that change, I will add the change event to the slider component. So change on change method. Now I'll write a code inside this on change. Will receive an argument, and I'll just make a call to this set val and pass arg.value. So the I mean in the change event, you will get the currently selected value in this parameter arg.value. So that's it. Now just load it. Now you can change values in the slider, and you'll be able to see the changes over here in the Angular part as well, as the same state variable is assigned to the um, custom tag. Okay, so now we have seen how to pass data from React to Angular. Now we'll see how to pass from Angular to React. To demonstrate this scenario, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a pic inside this. I'm going to add some picture into this React section, and I'm going to have the color picker in the Angular section. When I choose some color values, that color value is going to apply into that picture. So into the React section, let me add that picture now. I will add div with a class name, model shirt, and I need to apply the style. So background color. Okay, so now I need one more state variable here. So I will add another state variable, color and set color, and using the use state, I just pass some default value as white, and let me pass this color over here. Okay, so now let me copy this CSS for adding the image. I'm just referring it from the existing posted link. The image is available in that particular link. So I'm also setting the height and appropriate width. Now let's see whether the image is getting displayed. Yes, it is displaying in the default white color. Now let's move on to the Angular project and we'll add the color picker component into that. Again, the color picker component is available in the Angular inputs package of Syncfusion. So let me stop the Angular project, and here I need to install at Syncfusion slash pj2 hyphen angular hyphen inputs. Let the package gets installed, and in the meantime I'm going to refer the CDN link for referencing the CSS of color picker. So let me move on to the index.html page, and here I'll refer the CDN link. You can also refer in this same way as well inside the CSS file, but now let me make use of the CDN link inside this index.html page. Okay, now the installation is done. So let me move on to the app.module.ts file. And here I need to import color picker module from Angular inputs package. I also need to mention it inside the imports array. Now inside the app component HTML, I can add the color picker component. So let me type input EJS color picker type equal to color, and I have some properties to be set for that. I'm going to show it in a palette mode. Okay, now the color picker component has been added to the Angular part. So let's see whether it is getting displayed properly. ng serve. So once it get displayed into the Angular project, next we'll be handling the event. So through which I'll be passing the data to the React project. All right. So here you can see the color picker component in the palette mode. Now, if I choose any of the colors, you won't be able to see any difference here because we have not handled anything. So I'm going to make use of the change event of color picker. So here I'll do the change event of color picker. I'm going to implement the event handler in this name. So let me move on to the app component TS. And here I'll pass the parameter. So I need to receive the color picker event arguments here. So I'll pass color picker event args. I need to import this again from Angular inputs package. So inside this on change event, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dispatch I'm going to create some custom event and dispatch it. So let me use the document dot dispatch event, and inside this I'm going to create new custom event. So this custom event will take two parameters. So I need to pass a name to this custom event. Say for example, I will pass um, Angular custom event. And the second parameter is nothing but the data that we are going to pass. So let me pass the I just add the property as detail, and here I'm going to pass the currently selected value. So from the arguments, that is from this argument, I'm just getting the current value, and I'm just passing the hexadecimal value to the detail. So now I can access this particular detail from the React project. So I need to add the event listener in my React project with this name, and I can access the details inside that particular event handler. So let me save this. Now move on to the React project. Here inside the app.js, I will add document dot add event listener, and the first argument is the name, the custom event name which we have created. Angular, I hope it was Angular custom event. Let me reconfirm it here. So I just copy that, and next it's nothing but the event handler function, and there is an argument. So now inside this event handler function, I'm going to set the color value. So here I'll call the set color, and I'll get the argument here from this e dot detail. So this detail contains the currently selected value from the color picker. And next to the event handler, I mean add event listener, there is one more option, capture true. So I'm this is for um, identify the dispatched event. So let me set true to the capture property, and all right. So I think I have done everything over here. Both the projects are running. Let's see now whether the color that we choose from here is getting applied. So yes, the value that we select, I mean the color that we choose from the color palette is getting applied to the um picture in the React section. So I will just explain that last section, how I have passed the Angular value. So in the actually, I have made use of the event of the color picker change event. So inside that change event, what I have did is I have created the custom event, and I'm dispatching it with the details of currently selected color value, and I'm just accessing the same detail inside the React app, um, where I have I mean, inside this add event listener, I'm just accessing that e.detail, so that we have already seen that this particular color variable is set to the background color of the div element where the picture is actually getting displayed. So whenever the color value changes, the color variable will be updated with e.detail, the updated color value. And in this way, the data is you can pass data between the React and Angular. So this is one such way I have said how to pass data. I mean, how to pass data from Angular and React projects. And there are and also we have used the Angular custom element by making use of Angular custom element, and then using the web component load. We have integrated the Angular project into the React project, but there is another way, module federation, as I said at the initial time. You can use that as well, but I have a plan to take a webinar on that topic as well by making use of module federation in the next upcoming time. So I hope you might have find it useful to implement in your bigger projects. So this is just a smaller part, how to pass some simple data between both the projects. Um, so that's it from my side.
Thank you, Carter. Thank you all.